Day one of the trip, we flew into New York City. And a tip for you, at least for us, we flew American Airlines and sat on the left side of the plane. If you sit on the left side of the plane, you should be able to fly in over the city. I don't know if you can see out there in the harbor, there is the Statue of Liberty. So that was just such an exciting view. I've never been to New York City, so flying into LaGuardia is where we flew into over the city, and seeing the Statue of Liberty was just such an awesome treat. So we didn't get there until the evening, and really all we did that night was walk around by our hotel. Our hotel was like half a mile from Times Square, so we walked around Times Square, went and got dinner, and I will say that it was so unbelievably crowded in New York. And I don't know if it was because it always was that way. Like, I know New York is busy constantly, but it had rained up there like 10 days before, the past 10 days. And that was the first nice night. And so I wonder if more people were out. It was quite crowded, but we had a great time. Stopped at Hudson Bagel the morning of day 2 to get a bagel. It was exceptional. Just did some more Times Square type walking, and then we headed up walking to Rockefeller Center and went to Saks Fifth Avenue and just kind of explored in that general area. It was really nice. Our hotel was within a mile of these things, and so we got our steps in the night before, then this morning before getting on the ship, just seeing what we were able to see within our vicinity. Obviously, there's a lot more in New York I would love to see. Ground Zero, just I could list off a bunch of things that I want to do in New York. So I will have to make a trip back there someday to hit a lot of those things. But it was fun just to walk around and see, what we were able to spot. Tiffany, Louis Vuitton, Chanel. I felt like I was the brokest person in the whole world. And then this church, this is St. Patrick's Cathedral. This is the most beautiful church I've ever seen in my life. I was like, it took my breath away when I rounded the corner and saw it. I could not believe how pretty this church was. And just, oh my gosh. And Mass was going on inside. So we did get to go in and see Mass going on. I didn't want to film in there because I wanted to be respectful. But that was maybe the highlight of the New York trip, was seeing that cathedral because it was just so stunningly beautiful. And then we headed off to our cruise ship, the Norwegian Escape, and got on the boat for day 2. So the views you were just seeing before and what you're seeing now are the ship in the Manhattan cruise terminal there. So parked in the daytime there, and now we are heading out of the harbor. Just the most spectacular views of the city. But the reason I was recording, not only because this was beautiful, but we got to go right by Lady Liberty herself, and that was so cool to be going by Ellis Island, by the Statue of Liberty, and just thinking about all the immigrants that came to our country and saw the Statue of Liberty, and just what a beacon of hope that was for them. I can only imagine. So pretty. And actually, we were supposed to leave earlier in the day, and some weather-related issue kept us in the harbor for a couple of extra hours. So we got to go by her in the dark, and I honestly think that was really, really cool and probably just added to the entire experience. The next stop on the cruise, the first port that we went to after leaving New York, was Newport, Rhode Island. And I have to say, Newport surprised me immensely. I mean, I knew, it's where the rich and famous live. People have their summer homes that are these millions of dollars of mansion. But everything was pristine. Everything was so clean, stunning. We took a tour on a bus and just went through the town. We did the cliff walk type things. We went to a bunch of different mansions around the island and just these beautiful harbors with the sailboats. Just amazing. Saw where Jackie Kennedy had a home, where JFK and Jackie got married. Just was such a pretty day. And then we walked around in the little downtown shopping area a bit, and just has, those quintessential New England shops. Everything was so cozy and all the fall decorations were out. Such a pretty, beautiful, beautiful port. I wish I had the money to live there, but I surely do not. So I'm going to sit back and let you guys enjoy some of the views of Newport. The next stop on the cruise was Portland, Maine, and Maine was the most exciting place for me on this trip. Biggest bucket list was to go to Maine. It was my number one travel destination on my list, so I was so excited to be here. This is off of the boat, just looking into the town of Portland, and then we hopped on a tour bus and did some sightseeing around the town, looked at a lot of just the, general sites, some of the Victorian homes, and just kind of your quintessential New England colonial homes. That is a theme of this whole trip, is New England colonial homes. And it just was amazing. So, like I said, we got on a bus and we did some of the sites, and then we headed to Portland Head lighthouse in Cape Elizabeth, Maine, at Fort Williams Park. And this lighthouse, you guys, I mean, just look at it. Could this be more beautiful? This lighthouse speaks for itself. I got so many great pictures and footage of this lighthouse. I am definitely going to be printing a picture of this and putting this in my home because it was so pretty, so picturesque with the rocky cliffs and the waves. It could not have been a more beautiful day. And then we ended the day going to this charming little like shopping and kind of fishing village called Kennebunkport. So cute, and just everything that I've ever thought of when it comes to like Maine and seaside towns. So we enjoyed just going through the shops and kind of strolling for the rest of the day. The next day we headed into Bar Harbor, Maine, and Bar Harbor in particular reminded me a lot, at least this kind of port, as we were pulling in to Ketchikan, Alaska, where just had these beautiful mountains. And pretty sure when you're pulling into port there, you're actually looking at Acadia National Park along the shoreline. So that was really amazing. Most of the day today was on a bus. We took a bus tour to Acadia National Park, which was just amazing. So I don't have tons of footage just because we were inside the coach a lot, but I do have some really beautiful clips atop Cadillac Mountain, which is the first place in the United States to see the sunrise. I think that is so cool. I'll have to get back there one day to be able to experience that. But for now, we just took a ride through Acadia. I heard about some of the just fun facts about the park, and then got out on the top of Cadillac Mountain. See if you can spot the cruise ship in the picture here. The next stop was St. Johns, New Brunswick in Canada. Now, this was the only day that we probably had some pretty rough weather. It was drizzly and foggy, but we still got to see a lot of stuff. We went to the market and walked around, and I was just enthralled with the different Canadian candies and chips and stuff that are not like American candy. And so we got one of these Palo Mines. Is that what they're called? So tried that. That was good. And then we went to the reversing rapids. This was such a cool thing, and I'm going to butcher trying to talk about it. So the high level of it is that based on the way it is, the river is shaped, the water is funneled through into the Atlantic Ocean. And so at low tide, it's going inbound and it has the rapids like you see here. Then the water is completely slack where you could like skip a pebble across it. It's that calm. And then at high tide, it reverses in the opposite direction and is a rapid again. So this was a really interesting phenomenon to see. And I do kind of think the semi bad weather, the foggy day, just added to the appeal of. The last port we went to was Halifax, Nova Scotia in Canada. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite ports of the whole trip. It was stunningly beautiful. The excursion that we did wasn't until the afternoon. So in the morning, we just walked around downtown Halifax, and then we went to the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, which has a lot of Titanic artifacts. I'm a really big, I don't want to say fan's not the right word, but the Titanic has always really interested me, so I was excited to go there. And then we went to the Fairview Lawn Cemetery, where it has many victims of the Titanic buried. So here you can see a lot of their graves. What was really so sad to me is that most of them don't have a name associated with them. They just have a number associated with them. But some of them they were able to identify and have names. And yeah, there were so many of them. So interesting to see. Obviously a very sad kind of moment. But then after the Fairview Lawn Cemetery, we headed to Peggy's Cove and saw this beautiful lighthouse, and the pictures I took of the cute houses and the fishing boats. It was just like a photographer's dream. There were a lot of people there, I'll have to say, so I would have liked it to be a little less crowded, but in a place this beautiful, everybody wants to see it. But the next day we headed back to New York and came home. So that concludes my vlog for our New England cruise. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in my next one.